Okay, I'm going to take a chance and pretend that I'm actually live here from SAP Center. This is not my normal setup by any means. It's not the home studio. It's not my remote streaming kit. This is pretty much as simplistic as it gets. Me, my phone, microphone, laptop over here. So I'm trusting that you could see me and hear me. And on that note, maybe I should pull up the live chat to confirm when it connects that you guys are actually here. Let me know that you can see me and hear me okay. As I break down an unfortunate start to, I guess we're calling it the second half of the season. We're way past the halfway point. Tonight was game 47. But whatever you want to call it, it was not the best showing by San Jose. It was actually a really good first 6 minutes. 6 shots on goal. Maybe you're carrying the pace of the game. You don't look rusty at all. And then Edmonton scores. And then Edmonton scores again a second time within 65 seconds. And just like that, the Sharks are chasing the rest of the night. Frustrating to say the least, because the Sharks just couldn't get anything going tonight offensively. What did they end up with? 20 shots on goal to Edmonton's 41. 2 shots on goal in the second period. And again, after a first period where you gave up the 2 goals, didn't feel like you were trailing 2-0, although that was the actuality. Edmonton scored on their first shot. And again, long story short here tonight, unfortunate, frustrating, all the buzzwords you can throw in there, they're all applicable to San Jose. And there's also the bigger factor right now. This team is about to embark on its most critical phase of the season. As we have it, 35 games left, 73 days left. Of those 35 games, 20 are going to be against the Pacific Division. And there's now 15 games before the March 21st trade deadline. So games like tonight, they sting harder than, a loss earlier in the season to, you name it. Did the Sharks lose to New Jersey? I'm just picking a random team, right? These matter. These matter when, teams like Edmonton or Vancouver coming into town later this week. These are all teams that you're going to be fighting against in the standings for a wild card spot, for the division. And so when they blank you like this tonight, it's frustration times 2, to be quite honest with you. I'll be interested to hear what a lot of people want to talk about relating to Evander Kane and maybe the comments here, which I do have an eye on. Something is wonky the way this is set up here. It's like maybe the live stream is way behind the live chat. But anyway, there was nothing to speak of tonight between number 91 in blue and his former teammates on the other side of the ice. Milosh laid that hit on him at center ice, right in front of the Sharks bench, actually. But that's about as much of the drama as there was for an entire game. Now, there's 2 sides to this. There was no animosity visually, but I think if you're the Sharks, should it be frustrating that there was no animosity taken out, like in the actual game itself? The Sharks looked flat. You would think that if there really was that type of tension, somebody on the other side that you wanted to stick it to him and you wanted to, really send him a message, that you would have made it count on the scoreboard. I'm not even here to suggest the extracurriculars or, haymakers, none of that stuff. No. I'm saying send a message on the scoreboard and be inspired by who you're playing against, if nothing else. And it just did not look like tonight that was the case. Now we can kind of close out the whole Kane and Sharks conversation, at least tonight, by saying you haven't seen the end of it. I don't know what was said, if anything was out there said tonight. Didn't seem like there was any noteworthy back and forths. But there are 3 more games head to head. They could get a little bit more chippy, ugly, heated, all the above, based on where the Sharks go in the next couple weeks and where the Oilers go in the next couple weeks. But speaking of that, it honestly also is a bit frustrating to see Edmonton benefit with their new head coach, Jay Woodcroft, which obviously you wish him the best, former Sharks assistant. They've kind of honeymooned in their last couple of games around the new bench boss. And, not to mention was tonight, 6 games now with Evander Kane? 6 or 7 with Evander for Edmonton. And they have seemed to find a little bit of a turnaround there too. So you hate to see somebody in your division turn it around like the Oilers have. We'll see how long it lasts, and we'll see what the Sharks do next. Again, there's still time to make an impact, to make a dent in your division. That's the one thing about the Sharks' games remaining. Of the 35 games remaining and 20 against division opponents, you can gain ground quickly, but I have to give you a warning. You can obviously lose ground quickly just the same. So the Milosh hit at center ice on Kane, that was about all the drama we saw from an individual aspect. Also, I mentioned a frustrating game, an uphill battle type game. How about the fact that the first Oilers goal goes off Šimek, beats Reimer. Second Oilers goal goes off Milosh, beats Reimer. And then the other goal he allowed was about a minute and 50 into the third period. And Connor McJesus gets around Brent Burns, goes 5-hole on Reimer. I don't sit here and make excuses for everybody, but when Connor McDavid beats you and then 2 deflected pucks beat you, it's not a bad night for James Reimer at all. That was documented by Logan Couture. He talked about that afterwards. It was a good start to this game by this team. And then they went flat. And then they could not get sparked. And I think collectively that was the case for Reimer. He was probably their best player tonight, start to finish. Even though he missed those, 2 minutes? Was that at the end of the first or second period? The skate blade coming out of the holder, it must have been a broken holder because they couldn't pop that replaceable blade back in the holder. They had to send him to the dressing room and get that sorted out. But in the end, Sawchenko comes in for those 2 minutes. Zach was just fine. That had to be a heartbeat moment for him, though, too, because he hasn't gotten any regular playing time in a long time. I think the game he started, when was that even? Beginning of January? Here we are 6 weeks later. Oh, yeah, I forgot. This is Valentine's Day, too. So no love for the final score and no love lost between the Oilers and Evander Kane and the San Jose Sharks. What else did I even want to talk about tonight? It's just kind of a quiet, simple game to dissect. I think there's also the matter of, were the Oilers that good defensively, or were the Sharks that dormant offensively? Special teams also a factor. I thought in the second period when the Sharks gave Edmonton a 5-on-3. I mean, look, Sharks with 2 shots on goal in the middle frame, and they were killing a lot of penalties. The 5-on-3, Middleton in the box for chipping, Hurdle, that phantom call holding McDavid. I don't think that was actually the case. And then Timo with a tandem of penalties all in the same play. The trip and then the slash a couple seconds apart. He was in the box for 4 minutes. Sharks did get their chances, I think, too, about what could have gone different. First period, they're down 2-0 in a period where their chances on the power play were 2-0. They had 2 opportunities on the man advantage. Edmonton didn't get a power play in the first period, but they led by those 2. So, looking at the standings and now seeing the Sharks about 7 points out of a wild card spot, some frustration kicks in because although the Sharks got these 12 days off, other teams kept playing to make up a certain amount of games. And now, Sharks go from 2 or 3 points out of a playoff spot to now 7. And again, this could all change drastically here in the next couple weeks. I think as we approach March 21st and the trade deadline, I say this cautiously because I hope it comes across the right way. I hope this team has it very clear and there's not a lot of guessing about where they are, who they are, what they can accomplish. the bubble will make it complicated. Being on the bubble will make it complicated during the trade deadline. What do you really want to do? They've said, Joe Will, the assistant general manager, has said, Hurdle's not on the table for a transaction. At the same respect, and I'm not pushing it here at all, I'm just saying, other teams are going to be inquiring about number 48 until he's got a contract here in San Jose. It would just be, and I don't want, I want the Sharks obviously to be in it, and I don't want them to be out of it. But at least if you're out of it, it clears it's harder to be in the middle, I guess, of those two, right? It's harder to not know you're in it and not know you're out of it, to kind of have it be uncertain come March 21st, and to not do something productive at the trade deadline. That being said, I think one of the biggest compliments this team could get by the third week of March is if San Jose just is able to stand pat. They're not going to be buyers, let's be honest. That's not the case here. That's not the prudent thing to do. But standing pat, I think, would send a message to this team that, hey, you've made strides here in February and March. You've overcome some adversities, and we want to give you the chance with this group to try and get to a playoffs for the first time in a couple years. I've said this before, and I'll repeat it again. It's important for this Sharks team and the franchise to make a playoff run, to get back to the playoffs. It's important for the guys in the room. It's important for the hardcore fan base. Quite honestly, it's also important for the casual fans. The ones that only judge this team, fair or not, on did they get to the playoffs or not. I think they've made strides this year. Tonight, I would not say that was showcased. But I think overall, the coaching staff, the attitude, the style of play, I think they have made huge improvements from the last couple of years. Has it been enough to catapult them yet? No, but things are coming. But ultimately, like I said, playoffs or not, are the conversations start to finish for some groups of fans and evaluators and critics. So that's going to be important for this team down the stretch. Okay, so I can't take comments and put them on the screen as I normally do. Forgive me for that. I just don't have the right equipment here. But I'm going to try and read them off my computer screen down below, and I apologize, I'll be looking away for a second. Logan Irving saying the Oilers played badly today as well. I don't think they're going to look back and say it was their sharpest game ever, but to only allow 20 shots, you could talk about, their goals, and maybe the McDavid goal was the only pretty one, but I think sometimes you got to credit your defensive effort and what they did in shutting down San Jose on a couple power play opportunities, shutting them out entirely, right, the whole night, but wasn't even the minimal amount, the zero amount of goals. It was the shot total. Who possessed the puck? Who didn't even get as many chances tonight to score? Randy saying, not sure why there would be animosity. Sharks players were happy to see him go. I'll be honest, Curtis and I were talking before the game, and that was part of the conversation, that I think a lot of fans assume that there is ill feelings, things that have not been said, and that's true. Like, things that have not been said is true, but just read between the lines. I know some fans are looking for, the blow-up moment. Excuse me while I grab my clipboard that just dropped. They're looking for that bombshell quote. It's not going to happen. Both sides have made that clear. Evander and his former teammates. That's not going to happen. And some guys maybe weren't fond of number 9 in teal, and other players may just not have cared. It may have been enough players to not welcome him back to the team, but it also may not have been enough players to make him feel it tonight. So, and to Randy, to your point, Randy Welch, yeah, that's part of it too. Some players in the Sharks are probably just satisfied that they get to move on with their team and the players they like, and somebody who they disliked is not around. And that is enough for them to not feels sore about number 91 coming in with Edmonton. Craig here saying it reminded you of the Tampa Bay game at home, except less goals by Edmonton. Yeah, so the last time the Sharks were here, January 22nd. Was that a Saturday or Sunday? It was a weekend game against, I almost said the Tampa Bay Rays. Getting into baseball mode. Ooh, pitchers and catchers should be reporting tomorrow. Not going to happen. It was against Tampa. The Bolts won 7-1. They scored a touchdown here against the Sharks. And the Sharks were pretty much non-existent offensively. And you're right. Tonight was that same offense by the Sharks. Defense was better. You're right. It was. As for San Jose's own game, flat. Not really into it. Kind of this. You're right. It was a repeat performance, no doubt. Bruce Paulson saying to gain ground, we'd have to win multiple games in a row. And I want to go back and check here the game log. And I know this season lately, kind of since December when there were some postponed games, it's been very segmented, it seems. Sharks play 2 games, then have 5 days off, then play 4 games, and then have another 3 days off. But I'm not using that as an excuse. I'm just saying the season has been segmented, but I don't think the wins have come in bunches like that, too. The wins have been segmented. Sharks have done a pretty good job this year at minimizing the damage. I think they've only lost 3 in a row one time, although wait a second. No, didn't they just lose their last 3 of that road trip? I think they did. And now this would be a 4th loss in a row. So is this the first 4-game losing streak of the year? These are things I should have checked before I started live streaming. You're seeing me think on the fly. Anyway, my point is the wins have not come in the same fashion as the losses. When was the last time they won 4 in a row? They have to get, it's very clear, to get into a playoff conversation, to give yourself any chance of contention. You're right, Bruce. To gain ground, the Sharks need to win multiple games in a row. They probably need to do that a few times. It's possible, but you're right. It's not going to be, win here, lose there, win here, lose there. Playing 500 hockey down the stretch, absolutely not enough. Curry Uber Alice. Curry above all else. That's a Steph Curry reference. Not a great night for Bay Area sports. I don't know what happened with the Warriors. Anything else happen? Felix saying, ooh, that game was frustrating. Yeah, probably the best way to put it, just frustrating. Uphill the entire night. Yari saying, I'd really like Doug Wilson or Joe Will to go out and acquire a guy with term like Konechny from Philadelphia. I got to be honest, I don't see the Sharks adding to this team at all. Like I said before, I think the biggest compliment that players in that room could get would be standing pat. And even that is probably less likely to happen. And I'm not insinuating a big move might happen, but if the Sharks can make even minor moves that would benefit them now and in next year. And what I mean by that is if it means trading a player they currently rely on for somebody who has greater potential next year or down the road, they might do that down the stretch. I don't think they're not going to tear this thing apart. They want to try and remain competitive. They're going to tinker, essentially. I'm not expecting any large-scale moves, but I would not be surprised if some trades happen with the Sharks. Guzma 4K had a strong feeling Teal versus 91 would drop the mitts. No, I mean, it did not seem like that was even on the table tonight, quite honestly. Also from Guzma 4K, hockey aside, how long does SAP Center keep the lights on for? Well, it's 11:05 p.m. Looks like the Edger, no, that's the jet ice out there right now. Special coat goes on the top of the surface overnight. I think they had the edger out earlier. I couldn't tell what was making noise. They'll shut the lights off here within the next 10 minutes as soon as that thing is done. I feel like the lighting intensity is a lot lower right now than during a game. Lights are not on full steam, by the way. Oh, I should tell you here, and as I start to wrap it up, I shot a video here tonight that I'll be releasing soon on YouTube. It is the Sharks goal horn video. Have you ever seen the goal horn? It's up there in the rafters. I was up there before the game tonight. I got some shots of it. But I've got it from all angles, got a little history, background on it. I cannot wait to put this video together for you. You're going to see what it's like to walk around on the catwalk up there at SAP Center, a place that I'm pretty sure not too many of you have actually been. Maddie wondering, does this mean you and Brownie are going to be broadcasting more often from the tank? No, I don't know why on the schedule why we were here. I don't know the specifics. I just do it. I follow orders. I take orders. I do what I'm told. I'm not even certain as to why tonight that was the case. But I enjoy being here. It's easier to do the shows when you're in the environment. You really feel it. I like our studio and what that offers too. Don't get me wrong. But this is my preference. The Zamboni was my ride home. Nas saying that was my ride home. By the way, Maddie, since I see you're here, and Felix, since I see you're here, and anybody else that's on the live stream right now, if you are a regular viewer of these Sharks night shifts, you got to be careful when I say Sharks night shifts. No, if I slur my words there, Sharks night shifts. Anyway, you could see how I could mess up that tongue twister. What I'm getting at is on Wednesday, I'm aiming for this. I haven't confirmed it. I want to make sure that I can get enough people and get the right people. Wednesday night, 9 o'clock, I'm aiming to do Beers with Brody, the Sharks Super Fan Edition. So if you love the Sharks, if you want to be on a Zoom chat with me and 8 others, go to Twitter, look for my tweet earlier, respond to it, tell me you're interested. I'm going to kind of randomly, but also kind of handpick 8 or 9 people. I'll DM you the information. And hopefully we can all get together on, Wednesday, 9 p.m. for the live stream. I'll be at my house for that one. Nas saying, too bad the goal horn had cobwebs on it tonight. I didn't even get to hear it once. Totally get it. Guzma 4K, hey, was it me or did I see Brody in an ad on NBC Sports tonight? Not that I'm aware of. I don't know that I have any endorsements out there right now or current promotions. All right. Andrew Yoshida checking in from Japan. I always appreciate that. I forget is it the prefecture? Is it like the province or the state? But is it the same prefecture as Tokyo? I know you're not. You're about an hour away. I remember you said that. But Andrew checking in from Japan, where it's already tomorrow afternoon. I love that. Chris, when are we back live from the tank? I do not know. By the way, I'm just realizing this. It's Valentine's Day at 11:08 p.m. What's happening in the world right now? Are there a lot of, why am I even getting into this? I'm a married man, but are there a lot of romantic moments happening right now across the country, across the Pacific time zone? That's just something to think about tonight. I will leave you with that thought. As I sign off from SAP Center, maybe I'll give you just a couple more minutes of good background here. A nice shot of the tank. Let me move this around. Yeah, you can see I'm up in the seating area, but there we go. The back ultra wide camera. I'll put that on. Scoot it over just a little bit better here. There we go. I will leave you with this one last look from the tank tonight. No Sharks goals to speak of, unfortunately. San Jose kind of running out of time in their season. 35 games left in the next 73 days. They need win streaks. Thanks for being here, everybody. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to like this video so other people can be recommended to it. Also, subscribe to the channel. 8 likes. This video only has 8 likes. Help. All right. I hate to sign off now, but I got to get going home. So have a good night, everybody. Thanks for being here. Hey, if I say give this some more likes, can I get 10 more likes? Just kidding, just kidding.